Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Base Paths and Brewskis. This is episode 6, finally, part 4 of the four-part series of my 2024 opening day roster projections for your Milwaukee Brewers. So let's jump right into it today with the outfield. BP today, we have the Athletic Brewing Company Freeways Hazy IPA. And so far, as always, non-alcoholic. Let's crack it open. It's a nice Sunday night tonight, ending my spring break. Got my little beagle sitting next to me, getting ready to record. Doesn't get much better than this. Let's take a first sip. Ooh, that's good. It's definitely got more of that IPA flavor to it compared to the Samuel Adams, but again, still pretty good as I'm not a huge IPA fan myself. Let's get straight into it with the outfield. In left field, Christian Yelich, Jackson Chorio in center. Right fielders, well, mainly right fielders. We've got Sal Frelick and Garrett Mitchell as my four outfielders making the team. And I know that's already kind of a hot take that there will be four main outfielders on the team. But after I explain a little bit, and if you go back and listen to my infield episode that came out right before this one, it will kind of discuss where my mindset was with the three catchers on the roster and why that may allow for one of the outfielders. In my internal conflict, it was Garrett Mitchell versus Joey Weimer as to who would make the big league roster for a couple different reasons. They both bring so much to the table, but there was a couple different reasons why I chose Garrett over Joey. But that does not mean that I don't think Joey is a guy who's going to make a big impact on the team this year because I think he will be at the majors early on, once the season kind of gets going. So these are my two everyday guys. These guys, I don't see them losing playing time. Um, I think they're both at very different points of their career, obviously, and their role with the team will be kind of different, but I think they're similar players and they're guys who I just want to see on the field every day. So let's start with the easy guy here, Christian Yelich. Last year, a batting run value of 27, was 93rd percentile in the big leagues, a base running value of 4, which was 98th percentile in the big leagues. However, a fielding run value of a -4, which was 22nd percentile. And again, kind of like I explained in my last video, percentiles, the way they work is that 100th is the best. That means there's 100% of the people behind you, you are on top. And if you are 0 or 1, that means there's 0 or 1% of the population below you. His hitting numbers in Savant were great. Yelly, he last year had 632 plate appearances. His hit 278, 370, and 447 for an OPS plus of 124 with 3.6 WAR on the season. In 2024, he is projected, according to Baseball Reference, 583 plate appearances, a 260 average, 357 on base with a 410 slugging. So a little tick down from what he did last year, which I can see happening. I think those numbers are pretty reasonable considering how good of a player he was last year and how up and down he's been in his time in Milwaukee. A former MVP and kind of a former slump artist. I mean, he had a year or two there where it just seemed like he really couldn't elevate a ball, rolling over on a lot of things. And I think he's developed himself into a whole different kind of pitcher. He's kind of had a career arc of being a on base fielding guy in Miami, coming to Milwaukee, became a bit of a slugger. Then he just kind of wasn't hitting the ball at all. Then he's kind of moved into this on base archetype guy, and he's kind of adding that slugging back into his game slowly. So if he can keep on this trajectory, or even just get 90% of the production he got last year, I'd be super happy. I think something that needs to be considered with him is how much he should be DHing. His -4 fielding run value was not terrific. That doesn't mean he can't get it done in the field. I think he still has very good range, according to Baseball Savant. Uh, don't quote me, but he doesn't look slow out in left field. His arm value brings him down quite a bit, but left field is not known for having huge arms playing that position. He Just as a guy on the team, though, he's been getting paid the big bucks. He will be getting paid the big bucks. He's the backbone. He's the team captain. He's the veteran on this team of all sophomore and freshman type guys. Uh, Very comparable to, in my opinion, like on the Packers with Aaron Jones last year. There was a lot of young guys on the offense, especially, and he really was kind of that backbone, the veteran guy who was able to uh, get a spark when the young guys were kind of looking for someone to turn to. So hoping for a big year from Christian Yelich. And again, whether he's in left field or DHing, I just want to see him in the lineup every day. And being a lefty bat as well, I think is if he's DHing more, that's where we could potentially see the Joey Weimer call up as more of a fielding, potentially a power hitting type guy, a great on the base paths, a good bench outfielder to have. So I think that I'll talk a little bit more about Joey Weimer later, but keep in mind that Yelich is a guy who I can see DHing a lot this year, but having some time in the field as well. I project him as our opening day starting left fielder. Let's just say that. Sal Frelick's the next guy I see as an everyday player. 2023, 223 plate appearances, 246 average, 341 on base with a 351 slugging, 91 OPS plus, so slightly below average, but 1.2 WAR in his limited time up at the big leagues. 2024, his projection was 312 plate appearances, 257, 343, and 404 as a slash line, so improved slash line. Um, I think he's going to make a bigger jump than that personally because just of the hard worker he is and the amount of playing time he'll get. I think he'll potentially double those plate appearances, the projected 312, and for sure his 2023 plate appearances. So I think it's time for him to build that confidence, show off his versatility, potentially playing infield if we need to. I think he's really poised for a breakout year. He's already been great in the field and with his speed. I think he can show off that lefty bat really good this year and be, one of those on base, hit him over, score him, a guy who can score from first on a double in the gap. So just getting to first base is a huge thing with him. And just he's already getting experience in grinding. So super excited about what he has to offer. Again, I think a breakout year is incoming for him. And as for the versatility, I see his infield as more of a break glass in an emergency type thing. I don't think I wouldn't project him to be a starting everyday third baseman or second baseman, but in a pinch or if we have some guys who are tired or banged up, I think he's a good guy to have go fill in, plug and play in those roles. To have his bat and speed and fielding ability in the lineup every day is super important. Or even just a late inning position switch. You have some weird guys out there in some odd positions, and you just need to go throw someone in right field and you need a third base or second baseman, you got Sal Frelick. So I think that's kind of what that was used for, more not as much of a new primary position. So let's move on to the category I called Please Pan Out. I'm begging, please pan out. These two guys are so exciting to me. Jackson Chourio and Garrett Mitchell are the two I'm referring to. Both have been top prospects in the organization. Chourio in spring training so far, the only stats I have to base off of him 41 plate appearances, 308, 342, 385 slash line. So not the craziest OPS, but not bad. He does have three doubles. That's in such a small sample size, though. So how much can you really put on that in terms of weight? He's the number two prospect in baseball. He's an all-around stud. He's already gotten paid the 8-year, 82 million with the two team options after that. The Brewers are invested in him. This is not something you see every day from this Milwaukee organization. I think he's going to be our everyday guy in center field. He can use all of his tools. He's a great fielder, great base runner, great plus bat as well. And if they're willing to pay him that much, and from what I've heard, Yelich talking him up and some of the higher ups in the organization, along with the manager, everyone seems to love this dude. And at just 20 years old, he looks like a freaking baller, man. So I'm excited to see him for sure and see what he has to do this year. And he's one of those guys who I know I'm talking baseball, they'll talk about it quite a bit. Uh, a team looks to have a dude that everyone can go get the jersey in the team store and have the same number and the same name every year and know that he's going to be on the team. Not go out and get a jersey and hope that after the trade deadline he's still on the team. I think this is a guy who, for the next 10 years, if you invest in any kind of Jackson Churio merchandise, you won't be disappointed. So go out and do that. All right. And Garrett Mitchell. I'm almost more excited about him just because what he's shown in his time. In 2022, he came up and had a great end of the year. 2023, he started out 73 plate appearances, 246, 315, 446 slug with a 106 OPS plus and a .7 WAR in just like 19 games or something like that. He was playing great, and it was his that odd injury. It was his shoulder, I believe, just a really freak injury. Sliding into base, I'm pretty sure early in the season. I can't quite remember exactly what happened, but his 2024 projection is 243 plate appearances, 263, 333, 429. And if he gets anywhere near that low of plate appearances, I think it would just have to be due to the crowded outfield and the crowded talent on this team. He's super fast. I mean, the dude flies around the bases. To me, very underrated. I think there's a lot of attention going to a lot of other guys, rightfully so, like Sal Frelick and Jackson Chorio, even Bryce Terang in a way more than Garrett Mitchell. But to me, Garrett's really the guy who I think he's really poised for a breakout. He's got the bat. He plays the field well, huge arm, super fast guy. And I just really hope they find a way to work him in the lineup, whether that's, having him field when Yelich is DHing, if Sal Frelick is playing the infield, letting him go play right field. I really want to see him get some quality amount of plate appearances to show what he's got this year. And personally, one of my dark horse favorite players on the team, um, outside of like Devin Williams and I don't even know. Yeah, probably Devin Williams and Garrett Mitchell. And I'm a pretty big Sal Frelick fan as well. So let's see it. Let's see it, Garrett. Now, this last category, well, not last, but excuse me, Joey Weimer just wants you to make the team, man. I think he's such a good player in terms of his fielding ability, his athleticism. In 2023, he had 410 opportunities at the plate, 204, 283, 362, just not quality enough slash line, excuse me, to foster any attention that's positive towards his batting. 76 OPS plus, .9 WAR. In 2024, he's projected 405 plate appearances, 229 average, 308 on base with a 403 slugging. And I personally just feel like he's going to blow these numbers out of the water if he gets this many opportunities at the plate, into the 400s like that. I think he should be so confident in the fielder he is, in the runner he is. His arm value is great. His range is great. He was 95th percentile in fielding run value with 11 runs, 89th percentile in sprint speed, 93rd in range, 96th in arm value. He's elite as a athlete and fielder. And with his new swing that they've been showing off in spring training, he has a great attitude and energy to the team. Comes in every day and wants to work. Obviously, has been working on fixing that swing, and I think it was really cool. I heard an interview with him, and they kind of asked, when did you start fixing your swings, sort of say, uh, because of he kind of had that elongated swing with the hitch in it, made it really tough to sometimes catch up to pitches of guys who were throwing a little harder. But he kind of talked about how in the season, there wasn't much time to make crazy big changes. So he just rolled with what he had. And I mean, rolling with what you have and still hitting 204 in the big leagues is pretty impressive. So I really think that he's had a whole offseason to put it all together. I think he's confident in his fielding and base running, which he totally should be. And now just time to put that energy towards being being the hitter I think he can be with his frame, his power, and his athleticism. So go out there and do it, big guy. And my last category was the you could play. I'm gonna take a little sip before I go in a little more about Blake Perkins. Not gonna be too extensive. Ooh. Yeah, this athletic one is quite a bit more of that IPA flavor, but still very good. Blake Perkins, switch hitting guy. He can play any spot in the outfield, so he's proven to be a good replacement level outfielder. He's solid in the field. I think just a great depth piece for the organization. If we have any injuries, which inevitably will happen, I think he's a great guy that can step in and play under team control for a while as well. So kind of like a lot of these guys, but I mean, I can't think of many who are close to expiring uh contracts, excuse me, or at least not being under team control. So that's exciting too. But Blake Perkins, I'm sure will start the year in AAA and kind of sit in the shadows, waiting to come out when the injury bug strikes or poor performance, or just even wanting to get guys some minor league at bats to build their confidence back up. So shout out Blake Perkins. Brewers trivia. Christian Yelich has never had a season as a Brewer with an OPS plus under 100. Is this true or false? So reach out, respond on any of the socials with the answer to that question. You have a 50% chance of being right, so why not take a swing? Last episode's answer of Willie Adamas's career high of home runs as a Brewer was in 2022 with 31, I believe the question stated. As always, you can interact with the Brewers trivia, give me some Brewers trivia questions at the socials down below. Spotify and YouTube are at Basepaths and Brewskis. Twitter or X is at Base and Brewski. Instagram and TikTok are Basepaths and Brewskis, all one word. As always, the BNB beer requests. If you have any beers you've been dying to try, have a go-to beer that I need to try, please comment or reach out on any of the socials listed below with what I should drink next. Let's finish up this Athletic Brewing Company Free Wave Hazy IPA and put a little bow on my four-part series of my 2024 projection. Super excited to see how close I was and maybe where my mindset differed from the Brewers as well. And I'm honestly just getting ready for opening day. The next couple episodes are going to have a lot to do with my just personal opinion on things, my projections for this MLB season as a whole. Some pretty cool stuff coming up. And then obviously the first episode covering a series will be for the New York Mets series. And I will be drinking beer at that point. So probably rock with the Coors if I had to guess, but I know there's a stray Bud Light in my fridge I just saw, so it could end up being that sucker back there hiding. So let's finish off this Athletic Brewing Company Free Wave Hazy IPA. Again, non-alcoholic beer. Let's give it a last chug. Nice. And the beer is gone and the podcast is done. Thank you for listening, everybody. Have a good one.